So, at the posting of this video, it is Christmas Eve. And in the spirit of the holidays, I thought we would do something a little more festive. Strictly speaking, this won't exactly be a theology video, but we do as a culture hold a lot of beliefs and traditions, things we do around the holidays, that are intertwined with Christmas, but aren't actually honoring Christ, that aren't biblical. I mean, Christmas is supposed to be about baby Jesus, right? Born in a manger, donkeys and wise men. So what's with all the Christmas trees and Santa Claus and wreaths and decorations? Where does that come in? Let's take a look.
Attention, bargain shoppers.
So Christmas, from a Christian standpoint, is supposed to commemorate the birth of Jesus. It's Jesus' birthday. Happy birthday to Jesus. However, December 25th isn't exactly Jesus' birthday. So how did Christmas come about to be on the 25th? Well, in ancient Rome, it was a pagan tradition to celebrate the winter solstice. The ancient Romans specifically honored their sun god, Sol Invictus, by throwing a huge celebration in commemoration of that god, honoring the rebirth of the sun as the days began to get longer. You see, people used a different version of the calendar back then. They used the Julian calendar, and at this time, December 25th was the day of the winter solstice. So at some point in history, likely hundreds of years after the death of Jesus, the celebration of his birth began to coincide with this honoring of the pagan god Sol Invictus on the winter solstice. So from a scholarly point of view, we don't know exactly when Jesus was born, when his real birthday was, or even really what time of year for that matter. But the 25th is not his actual birthday. Some years later, Pope Julius I established, basically stamped that approval that yes, we're going to call this Jesus' birthday. And thus at that time, Christianity sort of appropriated this pagan holiday that was already happening. And the date is not the only pagan tradition that became intermingled with our celebration of Christmas and our modern traditions. By the way, the word pagan just means non-Christian. Somebody who holds views that are different than mainstream religions. It can mean different things in different regions and different periods of history. But for the purposes of this video, in ancient Rome, you can think about people that worshipped a variety of different gods, pagan gods. And a lot of these gods were tied to nature and astrological phenomenon. Gods of the solstice, gods of the harvest, gods of fertility. And it is people's worship of nature, which is tied to these gods, that can be directly linked to a lot of the Christmas practices. Like, for example, a Christmas tree. Pagans would take evergreen plants, including evergreen trees, mistletoe, ivy, and they would bring them into their homes and decorate with them to honor these pagan gods. Sound familiar? The ancient Druids saw mistletoe as a sign of life because it could bloom in the middle of winter. And because they had red berries, the green plants and the red berries are likely where we got red and green as Christmas colors. So you might ask yourself, why would Christians start adopting these pagan practices? And well, the reason why we did back then is kind of the same reason why we do today. Because early Christians and missionaries lived in the world. They lived among people that celebrated these things. And it was part of their culture too. They practiced their traditions that people around them practiced, just like we do today. So in a kind of concession, the Pope at one point made a decree. He said Christians could continue using trees in their ceremonies and their decorations, bringing them into their homes, as long as they consecrated them to Christ, as in they give it to Christ in honor. So they started calling them Christmas trees, and that was that. They just kept doing it. Even the Christmas wreath that we all like to decorate our doors with comes from this pagan tradition of displaying plants in your home, honoring nature and these pagan gods. The wreath is plants arranged in a circle to represent the cyclic nature of the seasons and the return of the sun in the harvest, the promise of spring. And you take even something like Santa, something today that we might equate more with commercialism or consumerism, actually evolved from the pagan god Odin. He visited children in the middle of the night on an 8-foot horse, and it came down the chimney, so people had to put straw in their boots because the horse was hungry. Later, as Christianity began to spread throughout the region, the mythical figure was renamed to Saint Nicholas, and it was tweaked a little bit to conform to changing beliefs of the time. Then during the Protestant Revolution, honoring saints was banned, so his name was changed again to Sinterklaas, it was a German area, which is where we get the word Santa from. So this is stuff I find personally interesting, but does it mean that we as Christians should not decorate our homes because it has roots in honoring pagan gods? Because a lot of our traditions come out of things that we're not honoring to Christ or to God. And to answer that, I think we have to look at Paul discussing food sacrificed to idols. In 1 Corinthians 8, 4 through 6, it reads, "We know that an idol is nothing at all in the world, and that there is no God but one. For even if there are so-called gods, whether in heaven or on earth, for us there is but one God, the Father, from whom all things come and from whom we live. And there is one Lord, Jesus Christ, through whom all things came and through whom we live." And then Paul goes on to remind us, food does not bring us near to God. We are no worse if we do not eat and no better if we do. He's basically saying, look, whether you're eating food that's sacrificed to honor pagan gods or you're decorating your house with traditions that stem from pagan rituals, he's saying as Christians, we're smart enough to know the difference. We know that eating food doesn't make you holy. Putting a Christmas tree in your house doesn't mean you're honoring the devil. We know that decorations are just decorations and food is just food. And any gods that may be out there have no power compared to the power of Jesus Christ. He does caution though, be careful you're doing it with the right motives, that you're not leading people astray. But if you have the right intentions, it's not really a big deal, and you can decorate and have fun this Christmas. So Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, everyone. I'm really liking doing these videos. I hope you're getting some value out of it. If you are, please feel free to like and subscribe. It does help out the channel. I didn't use many verses today, but the couple I did use, I'll link in the description below. Feel free to comment. I read all the comments. It just may take me a while to respond. My name is Adam. This is Bargain Bin Theology, and remember, you get what you pay for.